We are excited to be with you for the first training in the series, Building a Strong Fundraising Foundation, where we will share a few strategies for success. But first, we'll introduce ourselves. So next slide, please, Jill.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cecily Harris, and I'm a consultant with Strategic Consulting and Coaching. I've been involved in fundraising as staff, volunteer, and board member for nonprofit organizations since 1985. As development director and executive director, I've had full responsibility for raising the budget for several organizations. I've also managed grants, loans, and contracts for city, county, and federal agencies as staff and consultant. I've been a consultant since 1988 doing grant writing, individual and major donor projects, fundraising, planning, and events.
My name is Andrea Kish-Bailey. Like Cecily, I am thrilled to be here with you this morning. A little bit about me. I've been working in the nonprofit sector for over 25 years, serving in a variety of roles, starting as a volunteer coordinator, to a program manager, to doing fundraising and development, and serving as an executive director. One of the highlights of my career was leading the White Bear Food Shelf, where I gained a deep appreciation for the unique challenges and opportunities that food shelves face in securing sustainable funding. We are excited to share insights and strategies today that we've learned over the years, and together we will provide practical tools that you can use to build a strong fundraising foundation. Next slide, please.
Great. And to get us started, we'd like to learn more about your needs and make this presentation interactive. So please, everyone, share one word that describes your current feeling about fundraising. Thank you. And this could be in chat, or you could unmute and just throw out the word. Inadequate. Okay. Anyone else? Good. Lacking.
Well, our goal today is to make you feel confident and secure in your fundraising practices. So the first thing we're going to start with is the foundation for all of that, a fundraising plan. Next slide, please, Jill. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. These are the things we hope that you will take away today. The fundraising plan, understanding the key components of a fundraising plan.
The development committee, gaining practical tips for creating a development committee.
Sustaining individual donor relationships. Discover ways to sustain relationships beyond seasonal campaigns.
Community partnerships, learning how to cultivate relations with individual donors and community partners.
And lastly, events, to explore strategies for planning successful events that align with your mission. So again, first we're going to start with the fundraising plan. A well thought out fundraising plan is the roadmap that outlines your activities over the year. A strong plan includes a mix of revenue streams, ensuring that you have diverse sources of income to rely on. So this might include grants, individual donors, corporate sponsorships, and special events. Timing is critical. Aim to have income streams aligned with each quarter of the year so that you have money coming in every quarter. For example, grants might come in during the first quarter, which we know is not true, but that would be wonderful. A major fundraising event could take place in the spring or summer, and an individual campaign or a year-end campaign might be planned for the fall. Finally, everything in your plan should align with your mission. You should ask yourselves, how does this initiative support our core purpose? What is the goal of adding this to the plan? When every element ties back to your mission, it becomes easier to connect with donors and partners who share your vision. So we're going to do a little exercise to put this into practice. Next slide, please. I'd like each of you to take a few minutes to draft just a tiny mini fundraising plan for your food shelf. This is just for you. It's not going to be shared with anyone. It's just for you today to set the foundation for what we're going to talk about. So list up to 3 activities, 3 specific fundraising activities that align with your mission. Again, for example, a fall individual giving campaign, a spring community event, perhaps a grant application to a local foundation. Assign each activity to a specific quarter of the year to ensure consistent flow or income. So something in first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And then set a goal. What do you hope to achieve? The fall campaign could raise $5,000, say, or the spring event might attract 50 attendees and raise $2,500. The grant could secure $10,000 in funding. Whatever it is, whatever your goal is, add that to it. And then make sure to add how it supports your mission. How does this activity align with your mission? So we're going to give you some time and some awkward silence for you to put together your little mini plan. We're not going to report it back. You're just going to keep that to yourselves and use that as a foundation for the next steps in the training. So we'll give you some time. So that was 2 minutes. Does everybody feel they've been able to kind of jot down those things for three different activities? I'm not seeing anyone frantically shaking their head no, so I think we'll go ahead with the next slide, please, Jill.
Great. A very important part of your fundraising plan is having a development committee. And the committee could be a group of volunteers dedicated to the fundraising activities that you do at your organization. Things like event planning, donor outreach and engagement, and advocacy. Some of the important strategies that I'll talk about are recruiting the passionate volunteers with diverse skill sets that you'll want on the committee, providing clear roles and expectations for them, and offering the committee training and recognition for the job well done. Next slide, please. So your development committee can be new or existing organizational volunteers, donors. It could even be board and staff of your organization. Your committee can be chaired by a volunteer or, again, a board or staff member. Your committee might have subgroups that could focus on things, again, like an event or an activity, or you could work as a team. To recruit your development committee members, you might create a job description and announce this opportunity on your website or in social media to recruit some talent for the committee. You might also talk with existing active volunteers who might be interested in becoming more involved in what you do. These volunteers can bring skills and passion to your organization through fundraising. They may assist with sponsorships, events, and introductions to potential donors. There is something for everyone on this committee. Some people like logistics and may be really interested in event registrations or tracking your donor meeting calendar or other logistical activities. And for events, don't we all know people who love to decorate for parties, to make centerpieces for gala tables, and more importantly, to invite their friends to the event to show off all the great work they've done? These volunteers are pure gold, and they're wonderful having on your committee. They don't need to be paid, and they really enjoy the social opportunity of working together on a cause important to them. And they may also know people in the community who aren't yet aware and involved and engaged with your organization. Committees like the Development Committee can be a springboard for members to join your board of directors. And I guess I already have my slide for an example that I'd like to share with you. I serve on the board of directors of Outreach St. Croix. This is a small nonprofit artist support group with one full-time and two part-time employees and a very active hands-on board of directors. Our organization uses operating committees for everything we do. For the development committee, we look for members with interests and expertise in graphic design, event planning, sponsor recruitment, and promotion, which are all things that make event and activity successful. As you all know, it takes a lot of people to create a successful program or event. And as we support artists, we're very fortunate to have a lot of creative people in our midst. And success is not just meeting our financial goals, it's also networking with donors and partners, sharing highlights from the past year, and having fun. Our development committee members also have cool ideas for novel small fundraising events, such as an exhibit opening party, house parties at artistic venues, or compelling ways to meet with foundation trustees or potential major donors beyond just meeting for coffee. Volunteers can be great ambassadors for your organization. They can solicit auction items for a different way from staff. It's easy for them to say, "I'm a volunteer," and make a different kind of connection than your staff can make. They likely know people in the community that you've always wanted to meet, and they can make these introductions for you. Next slide, please.
At their core, development committees are just a group of individuals coming together, each bringing their own quirks, passions, and brilliance into the mix. And that's exactly what makes them extraordinary. Fundraising itself operates in the same way. It's not always about the mechanics, it's about the people behind it. And individual donors are the lifeblood of sustainable, flexible funding. Building and maintaining strong relationships with individual donors ensures that your food shelf has the resources and flexibility to respond to emerging needs. So here are some strategies for cultivating and sustaining these vital connections effectively. First is to cultivate relationships. Treat donors as partners in your mission. Keep them involved with regular updates about their impact through contributions of their impact of their contributions through newsletters, personal emails, or phone calls. Invite them to participate in your work by attending events, volunteering, or even sitting on your development committee. And here's a little pro tip. You've got a group of potential donors sitting in your mix every day, volunteering in your food shelf. A great way to tap into some resources from people who are already passionate about your mission. Another way is to share stories of impact. Donors are inspired by real stories. Sharing the journeys of individuals and families your food shelf has supported is a great way to connect them to that mission. Use visuals like photos or videos to bring these stories to life and connect on an emotional level. Think about what is it that brings you back to the food shelf each and every day, even after you're exhausted and you're tired and you don't know how you're going to go forward. You do. What is it that connects you to that mission and keeps you coming back? That is the source of your connection to your donor. Share that story. Then ask with a purpose. Be clear, specific, and intentional when making an ask. You are providing an opportunity for someone to engage in the work that you do. Something like your $100 donation will provide 3 families with fresh groceries for a week. Tailor your ask based on your relationship with the donor, their interests, and their past giving history. And then lastly, and what I think is the most important, is to thank donors personally. A genuine thank you can turn a one-time donor into a long-time supporter. Write personalized thank you notes, make phone calls, or send a small token of appreciation like a handwritten card or a photo of the impact their gift has made. So let's take this a step further for each of you. Next slide, please, Jill. We are going to practice one of the most powerful yet underutilized tools in donor stewardship. Are you ready? It's the thank you call. We're going to separate you guys into pairs to do this. So here's the scenario. You are calling a donor who recently gave you $100 to support your food shelf. Your goal is to thank them sincerely, share a brief impact story, and invite them to stay connected. So just take a minute right now, just a moment to think about what you're going to say. And Jill is going to put you into a breakout room with another person, and you get to practice making this thank you call. Take turns as the donor and the caller, and we'll spend about 5 minutes practicing. Okay, so think as you're moving into your breakout room, think about what you're going to say. Thank you, Jill. Well, how did everyone feel with those thank you calls? Would anyone like to share an example or a takeaway before we move forward? Anyone? Bueller?
All right, so since you're going to quote one of my favorite movies, I'm going to go ahead and.
Excellent.
No, I was with Christine, and I just tried to really just make it very brief and to the point, just thanking them, one, for the donation, acknowledging where they wanted it to go, and letting them know that that's where the money went to our affordable grocery program, specifically to our Twin Cities Mobile Market. Explaining how that $100 donation really helped give those senior customers access to fresh fruit and produce due to the community locations they are, where they lack access to affordable and accessible foods, and just how far that went on a weekly basis to really help and assist us, and how much we really appreciated it. And if they had any questions, any concerns, I'd be a contact for them, and to, thank you.
Christine, how did it feel? Would you definitely donate again after that thank you call? Oh, I think you're muted.
I am. Sorry about that. Yes, it actually made me feel very comfortable in giving funds to an organ, like if I were to donate something to someone, because then I would have all the information I would need to possibly do it again, and it made it feel, I don't know, something that would be worthwhile. It actually made it feel valuable.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, David and Christine. Should we do the next slide, Jill? And Cecily will tell us about community partnerships.
Yes, the next topic we like to share is community partnerships. And the purpose of these is to help expand your ability to network and raise awareness of your cause, of your mission. Two important strategies are identifying partners whose values align with your mission. And these partners can be other nonprofit organizations. They can be businesses. They can be government. They can be individuals. They could be foundations. It's anything in the community that works for you and helps the work you do. And partnerships offer mutually beneficial opportunities. There's something in it for both of you. For your organization, it may be expanding a program. For your partner, it may be finding a way to work with you. So there are many great opportunities. And as we all know, few nonprofit organizations can do it all alone. It takes a village, right? Community partners can be equally collaborative, they can be active or silent partners. And partners with complementary missions can work together to achieve so much more. So imagine a public land managing agency not working with a bird club for their naturalist programs, or not working with a bike club on a trail planning project. So shared resources can benefit all partners, and everyone likes to be asked for help. And as I said before, these partnerships can be with other nonprofit organizations, businesses, different levels of government, civic groups, and you can partner on a variety of things. It might be developing and delivering programs. It might be on an event you're working on together. You may have specific expertise to help your partner or vice versa. And with regards to fundraising, many federal and state grants these days require collaborations of a nonprofit and government. Thus, the grant proposal will outline how your partners are working together, what the government might be doing, what the nonprofit might be doing, and how, there's shared, resources in the budget, and how the outcomes and outputs are shared with the two partners. Next slide, please. So I'd like to give you two examples of community partnerships. And this one, Take Me to the River, shows many relationships in the St. Croix Valley region. This partnership has been in existence over 10 years. The nonprofit Outreach St. Croix takes the lead by compiling a calendar for free or for a fee art events for spring through summer months in the St. Croix Valley. These events are compiled in a brochure and online. The events might be gallery shows, performing arts, pottery open studios, community art and wine events, and much more. It's free for an artist or a group to participate and be listed, but you're asked to share the brochure or online calendar at your event and online. Sponsors such as banks, local businesses, foundations, individuals, and more are asked to support, Take Me to the River to pay for the full cost of printing the brochure and for the promotion. Donors' name and logo features prominently on the brochure and online. So who benefits here? Well, the artists or arts organizations, Outreach St. Croix, other organizations, and of course the donors. Another example I'd like to share is for an event for the Don Edwards San Francisco Bay National Wildlife Refuge. For 7 years, I was executive director of a friends group who supported the National Wildlife Refuge. We had a really enthusiastic group of volunteers who managed a native plant nursery that grew grasses and shrubs and trees for planting at various parts of the National Wildlife Refuge. And these wonderful volunteers decided they wanted to hold an annual fundraising event to sell these plants. We, of course, loved the idea, as it would help grow community with new businesses and government partners, and of course, individuals in the community. And boy, was it successful. The city became involved, as did civic groups like the Chamber and Rotary. They made donations to help us underwrite the event, things like pop-up tents and food and musical entertainment. We also recruited other local nonprofit organizations to staff tables and do programs for children and families. So it grew beyond just a plant sale. Now, the event wasn't a huge fundraiser. It became a friend raiser. You know, we made a lot of friends in the community by doing this event. And it also kind of put the National Wildlife Refuge on the map. A lot of people didn't know it was there or what it did. And now they knew that there is a visitor center and trails that they could enjoy walking. So sometimes community partnerships have to do with events or programs or just as a way to work together and support all of your missions. So next slide, please.
So building strong community partnerships is just the beginning. Events are a powerful way to deepen those relationships, raise funds, and increase visibility for your food show. Let's explore some strategies for hosting impactful events that first align with your mission and strengthen those connections. Here are some of those strategies. First and foremost, you will always hear me say this, start with your mission. Ensure every event that you do reflects your purpose. Events should clearly showcase how your work addresses food insecurity and why support is vital. I think too often we feel we have to hold events to entertain people when really the goal is to raise awareness. And when you share your mission, the funds will come. Involve volunteers. Volunteers and your development committee are invaluable in planning, promoting, and executing events. Their networks and enthusiasm will increase outreach and engagement. Make it scalable. If you have not done an event, do not put it on your calendar to do a 250 attending gala. It will not be successful with a full silent auction and live auction. Start small. Start with manageable events and expand as you build capacity and experience. This ensures sustainability and it allows for innovation. And again, follow up with gratitude. After the event, thank attendees and share the results to strengthen that relationship. Use this as an opportunity to turn event participants into long-term supporters and advocates. On the next slide, I have a few examples of different events that I have been a part of that I'd love to share with you. Next slide, please, Jill. The first is the Give a Gobble. I think I mentioned that I had led the White Bear Food Shelf, and about 7 or 8 years ago, we established this program. At that time, we were moving into a more fresh food environment for our guests, and we really wanted to tap our Thanksgiving baskets, as they were called at the time into more of a fresh food distribution for folks. So the problem was, how do we afford the higher costs of fresh food while still providing what we needed for the food shelf? So the development committee put our heads together and we came up with an idea of Kowalski's helping us kind of do the work that we do in the community. And thankfully we were successful. We reached out to Kowalski's and they allowed us to accept donations at their registers. They even went a step further and they allowed us to purchase turkeys at the reduced price, the same price we would have paid the food bank for. I'm sorry, food group, but that's what we did. So we were able to purchase turkeys directly through Kowalski's, who loved bringing them over in a big truck on the day of distribution. And the Kowalski's name really gave us a boost in the community to get other businesses involved. We were able to create sponsorships. We had stuffing sponsors and pie sponsors and fruits and vegetable sponsors at different levels and different groups, Edina Realty, all those kind of smaller businesses got really excited about it. And in turn, we were able to provide a volunteer opportunity to their team. Each business that sponsored was able to participate for an hour or two at the distribution, connecting them even further to our mission. So we started small, and I am proud to say that that event is still happening today. So just a great example that I think aligns well with the work that you're all trying to do. Two other great things that you can do on a smaller scale are house parties. Cecily mentioned this just a little bit. A house party is a great way to get your development committee and your volunteers involved in fundraising. It's usually a great first event to have them focus on, and it involves someone within the committee saying, yeah, I'll host a party, and they'll do a wine night or a coffee night morning or whatever it is that connects people to the mission. They bring their network in and they provide an opportunity for you to share your story about the food shelf. And typically it's a domino effect. Someone has such a great time, then they want to host a house party. And a pro tip, if you're considering this as a first event for your development committee, a lot of times people are connected to money that they don't know about. Perhaps their company would provide a matching grant, a civic group or faith-based community. People really like matching grants. So being able to host a house party, say we have so-and-so is providing a matching grant up to $2,500 and every donation made tonight will be matched, is a huge opportunity to grow your impact and to raise friends and funds for your organization. The third example I have for you today is a donor appreciation open house. I think you've heard me by now say that thanking volunteers and showing gratitude for donors is very, very important. This is an event that you will hold that is not about fundraising. It's about thanking donors for what they do, and you do not ask them for anything at this event. I find it works really well to tie it in with an open house and a tour of your facility so people can see firsthand the work that they're supporting and the impact that their donation is having. Now, there is some planning involved in that you do want to place this donor appreciation event before maybe one of your larger fundraisers, because then people are feeling really good about the food shelf and they're more apt to participate in your next event. So just 3 different examples of mission aligned events that I hope resonate with you. Now we're going to do another exercise and an opportunity to break out with your peers. Jill, if you would provide the next slide. I chose the March Food Share Drive because I remember that being a huge part of the work that we did at the food shelf. And I'm guessing most of you have heard about or participated in this in the past. It is a great awareness generator for the work that food shelves do, but a lot of times it could provide a deeper connection if you were able to connect more with your donors after the campaign. So that's what we're going to focus on now. After a successful campaign, it's essential to follow up and strengthen the relationships you've built. We're going to break into small groups and take a few minutes to brainstorm how to follow up with donors, volunteers, and community partners after events such as this. If you don't participate in the food share drive, you can consider another activity. In your groups, think about how will you thank folks meaningfully? What stories of impact can you share? And how can you keep them engaged beyond the drive? Some examples to get your brain flowing is you can invite them to volunteer. You can send a letter highlighting their impact. You can offer a tour. And while this isn't a direct ask, that's the recommendations around an ask still apply. You want to be very clear and specific about what the purpose of your call is and why you are asking them to continue to engage with your food shelf. So we'll take another 5 minutes for you to create your mini plan, and we'll report back as a group. Hopefully you'll share so we can inspire one another. Thank you, Jill. It's time for the breakout rooms. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for taking a time to do that. Would anyone like to share a new idea or two that they came up with? You could put it in the chat or share it out, or just how your conversations went. Okay, well, we can move on. Thank you. Next slide, please, Jill. So hopefully you were able to come up with a few key takeaways from this training this morning around some strategies for success. The first, a fundraising plan, is a roadmap that outlines your fundraising activities over the year. It's a great way to communicate with others the work that you're planning to do.
And your development committee, of course, helps you with all of your fundraising activities. As we've discussed, event planning, donor outreach, and advocacy, but it also further engages volunteers with your organizational cause.
Individual donors provide sustainable, flexible funding.
Community partners who are essential to have to expand your ability to network and raise awareness of your cause.
Hosting an event is a great way to raise funds, increase visibility, and build connections.
Great. So glad you could join us today for the presentation on fundraising. Our next fundraising session will be on grant writing on Friday, March 28th. Some of the themes we'll be talking about are writing compelling narratives, preparing complete budgets and timelines, thinking about outcomes and outputs and how to measure them. And of course, relationship building with the grant program officers at corporations, foundations, or government agencies. We really hope to see you there. But next, we have a little time for some questions and answers. And you will be receiving several handouts when you receive the webinar link.
Anyone have any questions for us today?
I have one question. What keeps you motivated, particularly in these current times that are in transition? I'll say it that way.
I think that's a great question.
It really is. And, you know, maybe we can both chime in. For me, there's always a good time to connect with people and to connect people with your cause. And that's what keeps me going. The people I work with, the people we serve, you know, achieving our goals for the year.
For me, it's just a passion to make sure people's basic needs are met, especially as we move into more, as it appears, cuts in funding from the government or the elimination of DEI support. I just think that people in poverty are going to be hurting much more than they are now. And for me, that's an area that I've spent my whole life working towards, is to try to meet the needs of today while working for a better tomorrow. And I think that that mission is now needed more than ever. How about the rest of you? Anybody want to share what keeps you motivated?
And of course, you can put this in chat or just, ask your question online.
Hi, this is Deb Bowser from. Hi, this is Deb Bowser from Miura. And I just want to tell you that I too have a passion to work with our neighbors. We've been told to go out and to assist our neighbors, and everyone is a neighbor. And as a young person and as a street kid for quite a while, and as a person in low poverty growing up, I've been able to see a complete turnaround. My parents were too proud to accept assistance, and I want to make sure that there's not an individual child out there who doesn't get the opportunity to have a meal in a day. And so that's where my passion arises.
Wonderful.
Well, I think that we have a short time. You guys gain a half an hour back in your daily lives. But we want you to know that if you have any questions, we are available to you. Strategic consulting and coaching, you can follow us on LinkedIn. You can follow us on Facebook for more tips and trades of nonprofit leadership. And I know maybe Samantha's going to talk about our future trainings that are coming up too, or Jill.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Andrea and Cecily, both for being here this morning and offering your expertise to our partners. I'm very grateful that you could make the time for us today. Yeah, and so we do have, as was mentioned before, a few more trainings, 3 more in this series coming up, and they're scheduled between now and June. And I'm going to be sending a communication out to folks in our partner cohort with more information on the content and how to register for that. So stay tuned for that. And I think with that, I'd like to thank everyone for their participation this morning and for your interest in this. And of course, thank you for the work that you do in community. It's very much appreciated. Hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank you.